was so important to me was he let me fool around with it a little bit, you know? I don't know how much of, I'm not a writer, I don't claim to be, but you know, some of the improv or some of the lines that I added made it into the movie or what, but during the audition process, he really gave me freedom to just have fun, you know, and be that guy and make up stuff and stuff. So I just wanted to add to that, because switching the two guys, you know, Jason couldn't have played me. You couldn't, come on, Oscar, come on. We got no movie if Jason is the one on crutches.
Oh, no, we got a movie with tears.
Oh. Tears. Anyway, okay, yeah, so the scene, this is a funny story, I don't know, it's cute. It was embarrassing as heck, but you know, we're shooting at that point it was on the USC campus, right? And so when like there's a big movie production, and this was, you know, there was a lot of crew and a lot of cast and a lot of equipment and trucks and stuff, and you know, you got all these college students lined across the street, hundreds of them, and they're just watching this movie take place out in front, and they put me in this Ford Mustang prototype, futuristic, I don't know what, that vehicle, it's like from Blade Runner, this car. And I'm the Bradster. Don't screw this up, because there's 500 college students standing there on the sidewalk at the fence watching this whole thing. Okay, so what you're gonna do is, you know, we're gonna key in on the license, we're gonna zoom in on the Bradster license plate. I'm still trying to find that license plate, I want that so bad. And then you're gonna take off. Do a little chirp, you know, do a little squeal. Don't go crazy, you know, we don't wanna have an accident. So I'm like, yeah, I'm cool, I'm Alan Kaiser, I'm the Bradster, I can do this. Get in there, action, see you later, babe. And I stall the car. And there's 9,000 college guys going up there. Oh, look at Mr. Actor's guy can't drive a clutch. It was hilarious, but I got it on take 2. I did redeem myself, and we only did, I think it was 2 takes. We did that shot, and I took off, and you know what I did? I didn't come back. I just kept driving until I got to Vegas. Fred called me. Where's the car? Don't worry about it, I'll bring it back.
There's a lot of moving parts in this story. There's, you know, obviously the core friendship story that we have, you know, between these characters and sort of going after the girl and dealing with the fraternities, but then you've also got zombies and you've got alien creatures and all these kind of things. Like, Fred, like, how did you manage all of this? Like, I'm curious as to the production of this, because there's a lot that happens in this film, and yet it all comes together very seamlessly. And I don't know that under any other circumstances it would have come together as well as it does here.
There's a popular phrase, ignorance is bliss. If you don't know whether you can do it or not, but you really want to do it, you just jump in. And that's kind of what it was. I never saw really obstacles. It was like, well, this is what it is. So let's do it.
Gotcha. How closely did you work with your effects teams and stuff? Because you have, you know, there's a lot, you know, creatures running around, you've got zombies and everything. Did you just kind of hire the right guys and trust them to go out there and do it? Or, you know, were you a little more hands-on with them?
No, I hired the right guys and let them do it.
And then you made them into zombies also. A lot of them.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this, but when you watch the movie, you will see a lot of frat boy zombies, and that's our effects team. Because when you create a zombie, you have to get an actor, you have to hire an actor. Can you shamble about as though you were a zombie? Oh, good, you're hired. Then they have to go to the effects shop and get plaster casts and then molded and all that stuff to turn them into zombies. And all the effects team, we were all young at that time. You know, like, we looked college age. So somebody had the idea, I won't take credit for it because it might not have been mine, but somebody said, well, why don't we just use the effects guys to be the zombies, because they're going to be at the effects shop anyway, every day, making the zombies. And that's what we did. So all of the zombies in the movie are actually the effects team.
And Fred was a zombie in the movie.
I am a zombie in the movie, yes.
Were you going to?
No, I'm not allowed to say it.
I feel like now you have to say it.
Don't talk about it.
I really wish my hearing was better right now, because I didn't hear that.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's going to be a long night.
It's on the Blu-ray commentary track.
Oh, okay.
I won't tell you what it is, but it's on the Blu-ray commentary track.
I'll hear it.
All right. Well, now we all have a reason to go out and get that Scream Factory Blu-ray. For the cast, what I think is really fun, and you can tell, like, just up here right now, like, there is such an infectious energy, and this movie was decades ago. Did it just all kind of come together naturally for you guys when you got on set and kind of got into character? And does it sort of feel like summer camp now, coming back, and getting to do things like this? Because, you go and make a movie with people for a month or two, and then that's it. You guys kind of go off. Like, it just seems like you haven't missed a beat.
I think
He's gonna want to answer this.
Yeah.
It was mostly me. Go ahead.
Well, Steve spent day after day handwriting letters to each and every one of us over the years, and it kept us all together tight. He told about his family, the weather, his life in Canada.
Yeah, I never got mine.
Thank you, Steve. When you do a movie together, you really bond with people. It really does. People say you feel like you're a family because it's not like a job where you go in, you wake up, and you're there from 9 to 5. You're there from whatever time they call you until whatever time they tell you get to go home.
Really early to really late.
And you spend every day and all the time, and when you're not on set, you're sleeping. So these people really become like a second family. And when you get a group that really mesh together, that have fun together, and like we did, each day was fun. It didn't feel like work, I don't think, for any of us. And we had such a bond that even though we had a bunch of years apart, literally, as soon as the first time I saw all of these guys again together, it wasn't like any time had passed. And I know everyone can appreciate that, with someone.
But also, when we started the movie, I moved into your house. And your parents took care of me, and your sisters were lovely to me, and
Could you expound upon that?
I mean, basically, he was like, why don't you come to my house? And I said, okay. Like, on the first day, you guys should go be friends. Fred says, go be friends.
Yeah, we hung out, and that's
And he
another
said,
thing,
come
we
to
all
my
hung
house,
out.
and he brought out all these guns. Literally. And we went into his backyard, which faces the 405 in the
Let's
back.
shoot melons.
And he said, no, his brother Eric had all these balls, like a basketball, a soccer ball, and everything. He said, let's just shoot my brothers. All his toys. So we shot all his brother's toys.
Shooting balls, it's a game, I call it.
and then I had dinner there, and then I basically just stayed there for like 6 weeks.
He was hostage. He was scared to say, no, I won't live here after that. He did some great chores, really did some good work on the fence, got the yard in great shape.
Wait.
Appreciate that, Steve.
We don't want to tell the yard, we don't want to tell this pool story, do we?
No.
No.
The dual stage wastegate piston.
He's having bad flashback from all the chores I used to make him do at gunpoint.
I just want to interject something and add to that because I did 100 episodes of a television series, and one of the top 5 FAQs is, do you stay in touch with Vicki Lawrence or whoever? Not really. I see these guys. I call them on the phone. We talk. This whole the camaraderie, and the chemistry between these people. They're some of my best friends, and they didn't even like me during this movie at all. What is this fucking guy with his method acting? Yeah, it's true. But we reconvened and connected or whatever at one of these shows, and that was like 9 years ago. And I hadn't seen any of them in so long, but we all just became like, well, I consider them instant, lifelong friends from that time, And it's funny, I've been spending 5 years with a cast, doing a team, and then, I spent 5 weeks with these guys, and had very little contact really with any of them. And now we're all like really great friends. So there is something kind of uncanny about this whole, cast, because we really are great friends, and it was really kind of, it's wonderful is what it is. It's just amazing. I have great friends here, lifelong friends.
Jill, I want to ask you, because obviously there was a moment when you get to sort of come into your own as your character and become a total badass. Not that she wasn't, but once she sort of kind of gets geared up and everything towards the end, there's a little bit of a shift. How much fun was that for you to kind of get to play around towards the end of the movie with your character in that way? Because I mean, I still think it's pretty awesome. Like, as a kid growing up and seeing a girl getting to do that, like, I thought it was pretty cool.
It was a really cool switch. I mean, you put on a flamethrower and it just does something to you. You know? Yeah, flamethrower and prom dress. Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. I'm kind of like a lot of people nowadays. You don't know what I do in my real life, but I redo a lot of homes, and I do all the work myself. I'm the plumber and the electrician, and people typically call the guy, which is me. So yeah, that was like my guy side when I was, and it was fun. It was fun. I loved it. There's something about a flamethrower and holding a shotgun. I don't know.
We're Sarah
It empowers
Connor.
you. Huh?
We're Sarah Connor.
Yeah, baby.
Tom, you've played so many memorable characters, but I think what's really special about your performance here is that it's so easy that this guy could have been a caricature, because he was sort of what you would think a police officer would be, and yet there's these little moments that are layers to him where you can see there's something else driving him, and we get these little hints of who he is beyond the facade of the really great quips and kind of being right on everything. Can you talk about sort of coming into this and just sort of finding those quieter moments? Because again, yes, there's some really amazing lines, but I think like the point when you guys are sitting in the trailer and talking, and there's just some really good character stuff there that I think ends up being sort of the quieter aspects of your role in this movie.
A lot of it was a defensive, from the pain that he went through as a younger man and losing his girl. But Fred showed all that, and so you unless you were an idiot and weren't paying attention, you knew where he was coming from. And my favorite scene in the movie was the scene with Spanky sitting in my apartment after I had just taped everything up and turned the gas on to do away with myself. It was a knock on the door, and it's him saying they got alfalfa. And then I tell him my story, and then we set off to avenge Alfalfa's death. And it's my favorite scene in the movie, but because the stuff I was saying was so good and so truthful and so intense that I got quieter and quieter, and Fred came closer and closer and closer with the camera, and it was a delicious treat for me to be able to do that, because you don't get that many chances to do good stuff in movies.
Absolutely. I know we're kind of getting gearing up for the screening in a little bit, but I want to go ahead and open it up to questions from the audience. We're going to start right here.
Joe.
Yes, hi. So one guy I really was hoping to be on this panel, obviously he can't because he's dead, was Walter Paisley. So I'm curious if you have any interesting Dick Miller stories for us.
So very bluntly, Dick Miller has passed away.
Yeah.
And now we're asking questions about...
I have one. That was another treat scene when Spanky and I went to, Jason and I went down to the gun locker to get the flamethrower. Is that what we were? Yeah, we went down to get the flamethrower. And he was so delightful and wonderful in that scene. And he said, "Oh, Ray, geez, yeah, the flamethrower, yeah, we got one. Yeah, you get the trigger's a little tricky. You got to be careful with it. But I need a chit. I need a sheet that says you can have it. And I said, oh, and we went back and forth a little bit, and then I finally just put the shotgun through the cage and said, I need the flamethrower. Sure, Ray, coming right up, Ray. And he went and got it. But I went to a screening of a film that I did not long ago. It hasn't come out yet, but it's about to. It's called Encounter, a sci-fi film, and we screened it in Boston. And I come out on the street in January, and 3 guys are standing on the sidewalk wearing Dick Miller sweatshirts. And I said, wow. And they came right at me, and said, Tom, we're members of the Dick Miller fan club. And I said, yeah, God, we had a great time in Night of the Creeps. He died. No. Yeah, he did today. He died today, this morning. Oh man, it took all the fun out of Encounter. It really hurt. He was such a wonderful actor and appeared in so many terrific films, and he always did a great job. Yeah, that's my Dick Miller story.
All right, we have one right over here. Yep, that's you. Yeah, you got it.
Night of the Creeps. Excellent title. And at the risk of sounding dumb in front of all these people I don't know, are the creeps the slugs, or the zombies, or the frat boys?
All the above.
Question for the
All the
ages,
above.
my friend.
You want the answer to that question?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
All right, well, now that we've got that age-old question answered, do we
Yeah, but when Jill says, don't these creeps take no for an answer, she's referring to the zombies. But we've already seen the skittering thing, so it's all those things.
Yeah.
The creeps is everything you don't like.
The Bradster.
We have a question all the way back there.
Hi, everybody. It's great to see you all together, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
For Fred, the first one is that Intimate Stranger song, Let Go, which is also in My Human Lover. I don't know if you know. Did you choose that song, or did the studio make you put it in? It's been stuck in my head for 30 years.
The studio didn't make me do anything, except for the terrible theatrical ending.
And then my second question is I know the last names of most of the characters, if not all the characters in the movie, are directors or filmmakers that you admire. Have you gotten, what did they think about themselves being portrayed in the movie like that?
None of them have mentioned it to me.
Cronenberg itself.
They haven't brought it up at the Directors Guild?
All right. Do we have another? Do we have? Come on, guys. Like, we have a whole room of people. Wow, really?
Don't be
Everyone's so shy. Okay, we have one right back there.
I'm just going to make several. Hey guys, what's up?
Yeah.
I spent so much time with these guys today.
That's Brian.
If you could have had a death scene, there's a lot of characters in this movie that don't actually get killed. So that's something that's weird to me.
Wait, Ron, can I just stop you? Is there anybody in this room who has never seen this movie?
Both of these, right here. Call them out.
Okay, so you've had some spoilers earlier. Looks like we're gonna have some more spoilers.
Unfortunately, it's
Just
hard.
don't worry about spoilers. Sorry, go ahead.
Let me rephrase. So there's many of you may not.
There you go.
Well done, sir. Well
Good
done.
job, Brian.
Now, if you could have created a death for yourself, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. What death would you have wanted? Because there's a lot of things that can kill you. There's these little creeps. There was these aliens at the beginning. There's a zombie with an axe. There's all kinds of different things. So
I just wanted him to die.
for yourself.
And I still do.
feel like music needs to be played right now.
Well, I guess for me, just very hypothetically,
We actually have gone through this scenario. We've done this.
can't
When
kill a
you-
hero.
No, where you said I would have set myself on fire. I would have run into the street, got hit by a bus. What was it? It was like 3 deaths.
That was a good one.
I remember that.
Flaming, hit by bus. But now I'm thinking that at the other ending, you know, instead of it being a searchlight, like maybe I'm kicking it in the graveyard. Oh, my buddy is out there too. And then the alien ship comes, and then the beam hits me. But it's not a light, it's a beam, and it picks me up higher, and then it starts to cut out.
And then they change their mind and they
Loses
drop
power,
it.
and it just drops me. The end. So that would be mine. Next.
Does anybody else want to play with their potential deaths that they would have, what ideal way they would have liked to have died?
Oh boy.
Who's gonna be that?
I didn't want to die. I just wanted to, you know, grab my doggy and go home.
And I thought I was gonna die on this movie. I mean, this was the 1980s. That was a live flamethrower. And the props guy comes over and he says, okay, so, you know, okay, Jason, Brad, whatever, okay, here you go, here's the flame, you got the trigger here, and he goes, okay, this is how it works. He pulls the trigger and he cooks a shrub that's like 25 feet away. And I've got contact lenses in my eyes the size of hubcaps, and it's like looking through glasses of milk. And here comes Jason Lively, who's kind of a reputation as a hothead anyway. And he comes up to the porch, pointing this real flamethrower at me, and I'm like, screw, and I dive off the boat like, I can't do this.
Can't even tell you how torn I was that day.
Oh, missed me.
I was on the fence. I was like this. I was just shaking. I don't know if you
So
look
it was
at
like
me.
2 or 3 takes, because I'm not this, I don't want to die on this movie. And Fred was like, okay, we got to do a third. Alan, just be cool. We got the thing. Jason will be fine.
I was begging him.
Scared to
Just
death.
like-
Cook the Bradster, they said. They had the thing.
Because he didn't tell you, Alan's a method.
Oh, here we go with the method acting. Yeah, okay.
A lot of us look at it like, hey, we're still friends. We go do our part, whatever. We're not if you're a
Sound
method actor.
like you said Alan's a meth head.
Oops, did that slip? So, he had to be the Bradster when we were filming, and the Bradster when we weren't filming. I'd say to Steve, like, dude, I fucking don't like that guy.
I said, I know he is a dick.
But that was his choice. Method acting can be rough.
Try it at home.
I'm a pretty social guy, and I got the job, and I was so happy. I said, so Fred, when's the big cast party? Let's get together. I want to get to know the guys. Let's have a script reading. He says, I want you to have nothing to do with them during the entirety of this film. You are not allowed to speak to those 2 boys. I want you to stay away from them because I want to create that animosity.
Sure.
Fred Decker turned me into a method actor.
Guilty as charged.
He wouldn't let us communicate.
I didn't.
I
just didn't like
am
him.
a method.
I have to
Guilty
say,
as charged.
I
I'm a
have to
method
say
actor.
something here.
You were part of
We,
his
project.
we went to Austin a number of years ago to do the extras for the final first Blu-ray release DVD. Righteous. Up until then, everybody had what do they call it? Bum shot. You know, the fake things off VHS and that they were watching.
Bum
So
shot.
we went there to Austin to have a screening of the Blu-ray and to do extras. And we were all in this hotel room watching the new version of the latest, the real righteous version of Night of the Creeps, and talking about it, having commentary. And if you ever hear it, you will hear very little of me. And everything from Jason, who never, ever shuts up.
Look, in my defense, it was Austin, and they were giving us a bunch of free drinks beforehand. I was feeling a little relaxed, and I had a couple things to say. What do you know?
I think we have time for a couple more questions. I see one all the way in the back there. Yep.
If you could, would there be a sequel to Night of the Creeps?
Must know about a sequel.
Come on, Fred.
Well, I still have this sense memory of all these hands going up a minute ago. There's two different endings to this movie. Do we have a projectionist in the back who can tell me which version of the movie we're watching? We are watching the theatrical cut. Okay, that's fine.
He's not happy.
The air in the room just went out.
Kidding. I made the movie. I'm proud of it. I'm kidding.
We only have the room till 10 o'clock, Fred. We can't watch the director's cut.
Well, the director's cut is over.
It's 5 hours long.
The last minute is different. That's the only real change. Literally, that's the only change. The last minute is different. However, what was the question?
If you had an idea of a sequel.
Oh, well, both versions, and I would suggest you see, once you see one version, just look at the end of the other version, because they're two very different versions, and they have two very different outcomes. But with one version, their sequel is virtually impossible. But with the other version, a sequel is virtually impossible. So, no, is the answer.
Gotcha. I think I saw a couple hands over there. Where we got? Oh, right over there. Yep. I'll get back over here next.
This is a very typical question in a lot of panels, but going down the line, what was your favorite line from the movie?
Favorite lines from the movie. We'll start with you, Alan.
I had such great lines in this movie. I don't. Hey, babe, it's the Bradster. You're not
Well,
upset
girls,
about
I
this?
got good news and I got bad news. The good news is your dates are here.
What's the bad news?
They're dead.
Well, judging on what people were asking me to sign on their posters and whatnot, it seemed that if there is such a thing, my favorite line, and the one that seems to be the favorite for everybody else, is when we're out in the Lover's Lane in the Baby T-Bird, and we're like, starlight, star bright, what's the brightest star? And then the canister goes flying over, it's like a meteorite kind of thing. And then my line was, I vote for that one.
Yeah.
It was a fun line. It was a hard line to get the sound right at that time, because we were out in Griffith Park and everything, so we had to keep redoing it. And then it became like a joke line. Like we would be at the craft services and someone would say, oh, you want chicken or fish? And they're like, I vote for that one. You know, it became like this kind of a goofball line after that. So it's kind of become my favorite line that I got to deliver.
Brad's an asshole.
But do the line reading from the movie.
Huh?
Do the line reading from the movie, which is funnier. It's kind of like,
Brad's an asshole.
there's no conviction. It's just like, because it's a matter of fact.
He's directing me again.
My favorite line in the movie is "Thrill Me," and I'll tell you why. Because that was the line that started the whole. I was trying to sleep one night and I couldn't fall asleep, and it was 3 a.m. and I just and these words came to mind, and I went, And I said to myself, thrill me. And I got up and I wrote it on a piece of paper. And that was the first 2 words that became the screenplay. I didn't know who said it. I didn't know
This
why
is
they
the
said
first
it.
for all of us hearing this one.
I didn't know why they said it, and then slowly it sort of evolved. I think it's somebody who's got an attitude. Ooh, it's a two-fisted, bourbon's drinking detective. And all the rest came after that.
Wow.
So.
Wow. That's really cool.
At least we don't have to have sex with a farm animal. Something I felt took to heart. I was grateful.
My favorite line that I had was when we were in the we were pledging. No, it was when you had the Bradster approaches us and says, you made a mistake with this body. I don't want to be a spoiler, but he said, we said the Alpha Beta Gamma house, not the Beta Epsilon house. Do you know the difference? And I'm like, it's all Greek to me. that was pretty hot.
Excellent. Well, actually, guys, we are officially out of time, so we can get started with the movie. But I think we need to give it up one more time for the cast.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much, everybody.